Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. I'll be honest, this was not a very happy Friday for me. It's a rough end of the week day. Like it felt like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday all balled up into one day. Friday. It's rough. I was getting pushed and pulled in many different directions. I had so much to do and not enough time to get it done. And yeah, it's just one of those days. So I'm actually happy. Like when I get here to see you guys, it's like this is when you were in school, right? When you were in middle school or elementary school, and you watch the clock, and it's 2:58, and it's 2:59, and then suddenly it's 3 o'clock, and you get to go run outside and play with your friends. That's what this hour is. So welcome, you guys. Thank you for being here. So let's see who we got here. Of course, we got Zelda up at the top. Welcome, Zelda. Foxhill Dreams, my friend. Glad to see you. I hope you're feeling well. Valerie G, Bernadette H, the Trump Reaper. Claudia, Aries Wanderer. Meredith Powell. Simon Metcalf is here. Let's see. Ness from Connecticut. RJ, Lulu Girl, being the sad detonator. Kenna. Maggie's mama. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. All right, so let's see. You know what time it is. We have many things that we have to cover, but first we're going to do a quick recap and what I like to call stories of the day.
Stories of the day.
Stories of the day. Oh, and by the way, in case you didn't notice, I did get myself a haircut. And it's weird because usually, like a haircut day, I feel good, I feel recharged. Excuse me. They trim off the the dead ends or whatever. The what is it? Broken ends, dead ends, whatever. They trim off all the old hairs and make you feel brand new. But it was like it was like the minutes leading up to my haircut was like chaos. But anyway, so let's see, what do we have here? We have Kamala Trump's Trump. Kamala Trump's Trump, indeed. This was actually quite a jam-packed split ends. Thank you, RJ. And Bernadette H, thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. Welcome, Nurse Mitch. I see you, my friend. Kamala Harris was a smash hit this week, whether or not she was with her current president or her hopefully future vice president, Tim Walz. But she made a big splash this week. Yesterday was an announcement about prescription drug successes, wins. And today was her big economic platform speech. And boy, was it something. It was something to behold. This week was yet another swing and a miss for Spanky, for the Tangerine Tyrant, for Adolf Hitler. It was a bad week. Whether it was his bizarre online interview. For those of you who are not watching or listening, I'm putting air quotes around the word interview with Elon Musk on Twitter. or his bizarre Folgers Honey Nut Cheerios economic press conference. It was supposed to be an economic press conference and intellectual. It was yet another unmitigated disaster. And last but not certainly not least, there is some progress news as far as the sequel to The Littlest President. Fun fact, The Littlest President is the reason why there is a story time with BDD to begin with. Seriously, that was why I started doing story time with BDD, so I could share with folks, with you all, so I could share these pages. Those of you, the old heads, those of you who have been with me from the beginning will remember that, I basically used to get on here and read read like 4 or 5 pages at a time, and we talk about other topics. We basically do the news, but I was also reading from the book. That was back in the day. And so before I forget, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and the like button looks like the thumbs up right there. Right there. Let's see. Okay, so moving forward, there is no more Defiant podcast. No more. Sadly, was not able to keep the viewership numbers up. It is what it is, it's beyond my control. I did not have the energy or the wherewithal to go chase down more viewers or do more promotion for the show. So be it. We gave it the old college try. I think I'm proud of the work I did on that show. I will continue to do story time with BDD, whether or not this viewership grows. I'm doing what I do just because I enjoy this community that we have put together, and that's that. The Olympics is over, and we had some winners, some losers, mostly winners. We had a lot of gold medals. We had both the men's and women's basketball teams bringing home the gold. And Steph Curry turned in a performance for the ages, shooting 8 3-pointers in what was a really close final against Canada. Let's see. So, but here was the thing. this was the only thing, you guys. It was the only thing I was looking forward to. It was the breakdancing competition. It's a little bit disappointed. Now, thankfully, I missed the women's competition. But then suddenly I started seeing memes about this Australian breakdancer, and I was like, what the hell is going on with her? I can't, sadly, I cannot show you on YouTube because YouTube is a bit of a bitch when it comes to copyrighted stuff. And the Olympics is even worse. The Olympics, if you post stuff with your account from the Olympics, like they will flag you and, whatever. So, long story short, this woman from Australia was part of the committee to approve breakdancers going to the Olympics from Australia. She decided to, and it's very unethical, I think. She decided to enter herself, and then she basically just denied everybody else. That's crazy. Like, you're the judge of a baking competition, and it doesn't even matter who submitted what. You don't even care because they're all disqualified because you are the only one who you're the judge. So anyway, I did see the performance, and it was horrific. It was abysmal. She did some shit like this, which was meant to be an interpretation of a kangaroo. I'm sorry. I when I was a kid, when I was 15 years old, 15, 14 or 15, that's when I first started I started doing electric boogie, not breakdancing. I wasn't spitting on my head or doing windmills or any of that cool stuff. No, but I was doing the electric boogie, you know, the um, the wave and the moonwalking and all that stuff. I used to do that. Um, but you got to have some respect for the art form, and clearly she did not. And if you look at the faces of the judges behind her, I'm very impressed that they weren't laughing, because it was horrific. It was terrible, abysmal what she did. Pop locking. Thank you, Trump Reaper. Uh, oh, and the closing ceremony. Again, I cannot show you, but I'm sure by now you have all seen this on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or whatever. Tom Cruise, who I think is like the greatest living action star, period. That's my opinion, but I think he's just tremendous. What he gives us in those movies, there's very few people who put it all out there. The dude literally broke his foot jumping from one roof to another. He did not disappoint. He got up very, very high in the closing ceremony, and he freaking jumped. I don't care how secure that cord was, that safety cord was. That's some scary shit. So, yeah. So as Michelle is saying, absolutely do not like Tom Cruise as a human being, but cannot deny that he makes a great movie. Indeed. So speaking of movies, I did watch some movies last week, and I told you I would tell you about them. The Instigators was was funny, actually. It was funny, even though Casey Affleck's character is a pain in the ass. But overall, it was an okay movie. Not great. It was okay. Bike Riders also actually had great promise, good acting, interesting accents. I always love Tom Hardy, no matter what he's in. But the script, a movie is bad if I'm complaining about the script. Normally, I don't really care that much, but I didn't really care for the script. I thought it was it was a nowhere movie. You could save your time, your money. Don't bother. Don't bother with this one. Bad Monkey is a TV show that is on Apple TV. It's great. Love this show. Wifey and I just started watching it last night. It's only 2 episodes available to stream right now. And it's starring Vince Vaughn, who I don't care. I think he's a Trumper, but honestly, I don't care. I can separate that. It's funny because what's that guy's name? Scott Baio. He's a Trumper. I don't care to watch anything that he's in. Who's the other guy? There are some Trumpers who are just straight up assholes that you just no thank. I don't want to see anything that you're in, Kevin Sorbo. But Vince Vaughn, that dude is funny. He's funny. Does that speed talking thing. Anyway, in this Bad Monkey, it takes place in the Florida Keys. The scenery is beautiful. And he plays a detective who is on the case of trying to determine who murdered a guy and chopped his arm off and left it in the water. That's a fun. And Aries Wonder, I have seen Coraline. I have. Yeah, it's a great show. Great movie. Trump Reaper, thank you. John Voight is another one. Who is the guy who was on Twitter? James Woods. James Woods. I don't care. I don't give a damn about it, James Woods. But guys like Vince Vaughn, I'll forgive them. Even Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone, I believe, is a Trump supporter. Don't care. I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch whatever Sylvester Stallone is in. That's Rocky, or Rambo. Take your pick. Bruce Willis. Sadly, I feel so sad about Bruce Willis, but I freaking love Bruce Willis. You're not going to get me to ever stop watching a Bruce Willis movie. Unless it's like a shitty movie like that Hudson Hawk, I think, was not great. Randy Quaid, Simon Metcalf. When you guys are throwing up names, I don't give a damn about a Randy Quaid. However, that said, he's part of an ensemble cast in the first Independence Day movie about the aliens. I'll watch that. I don't care. He's like a little bit insignificant character. I don't care. I'll still watch that. Oh, Robert Patrick, aka the T-1000. That makes sense because he's playing bad guys in movies and TV shows more frequently, so that totally makes sense. Recently saw him in that Reacher show on Amazon Prime. Jackpot is a movie that just came out, I believe, this weekend, and it's starring John Cena, who is one of my favorite big guys in movies. He's up there with like The Rock, as like former wrestler, former huge wrestler who has a great sense of humor, doesn't mind poking fun at himself. John Cena and Aquafina, who Aquafina is kind of an acquired taste. I can take her in drips and drabs. She is funny, but I can only take but so much of Aquafina. Anyway, the premise of this is Aquafina wins like $1 billion lottery, right? And in this, I don't know if it's an alternate universe, whatever, in this universe, if you win that $1 billion lottery, someone else can claim it if they kill you. so everybody is chasing after her, and John Cena is helping her to stay alive. So it looks funny. I'm going to check it out. It looks like it has potential. We're going to watch that tonight. Here's a picture of her strapped to John Cena's back in a yoga studio. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So here's some news, some actual possible don't get your hopes up news, but still Joe Biden was talking about this in an optimistic way earlier today. It looks like we might be on the verge, possibly, of a ceasefire. I take that with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt because it was literally like just 2 days ago, people were saying, "Oh, these ceasefire talks have hit a significant roadblock because of activity from Hezbollah and Iran and Hamas and blah 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 blah." But all that said, it looks like there still is some willpower to push this across the finish line. So that's something. Keep your fingers crossed. But I believe President Biden said, no, sorry, it wasn't President Biden. It was somebody in the news. So again, with the grain of salt, but they said it's possible we might hear something as soon as tomorrow or this weekend. So fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that stuff, ceasefire all the way, please. Hope. Hope. So about, what was it? 10, 14, 16. How many years ago was that? 24, 6, 2008. Help me with the math. Was that 16 years ago? About 16 years ago, damn it. That artwork, that painting of President Obama, it's iconic by now. Everybody knows this. It's legendary. It's iconic. This artwork was created of President Obama during his movement, which was also kind of it was historic and iconic. It was like almost like a once in a lifetime kind of thing where you were seeing coalitions of all different walks of life, people coming out of the woodwork from everywhere to come and vote for President Obama. He was making people feel hope, and this is on the heels of a disastrous George Bush two-term presidency, uh, with us mired in war, in an unjust war in Iraq, uh, a financial crisis that should never have happened, but it happened because of massive deregulation. Um, Shepard Fairey, thank you, Trump Reaper. Trump Reaper is my fact fact person, fact checker helper, fact checker. Thank you, Trump Reaper. Um, and anyway, Shepard Fairey has just completed their latest work of art, and it is Kamala Harris, on a poster that says "Forward." Forward we go. Forward. In other news, JD Vance cannot seem to keep himself out of the weird news. Hello, Elaine Prieto. I see you there. Cannot manage to keep himself out of the weird headlines. So a photograph surfaced from years ago. It says decades old photo of J.D. Vance posing with 3 female classmates at the urinals of the boys' bathroom during his senior year of high school in Ohio. So this is interesting because isn't it the right wing that is all concernicus about boys being in the girls' bathroom and girls being in the boys' bathroom? And what is J.D. Vance doing here? Who knows? He's just he is just being a hypocrite, I suppose. Maybe that was when he was fun and, shit like that. Being all up in people's business didn't matter. The whole controversy about people, um, worrying about boys and girls' bathrooms and boys participating in girls' sports, it's fake outrage. It really is. It's not a major deal. It's not like, it's happening a lot. It's not. But what are you going to stop people who identify as trans from using a bathroom? What bathroom are they supposed to use? You're going to stop them from participating in sports? See, we're still at that age right now, psychologically, as a society, where we were with, let's say, back in the 1700s, where women got burned at the stake because, I don't know, because they knew math. And they burned them at the stake because they accused them of being a witch because they knew how to add things, So they hadn't evolved enough yet to know that women who know math are not witches. Women who can do things that, you didn't expect them to be able to do, not witches. It's no such, come on. I was about to say there's no such thing as witches, but we all know there are witches. Excuse me. Yeah, it was crazy. So this is the age of unenlightenment that we're living in right now. This is where MAGA is trying to drag us kicking and screaming into a yet another dark ages. Really, that's all it is. It's ignorance. It's annoying. Michelle says, while the peasants watched, indeed. But in the 1700s, they pooped into the moat from the top of the castle. That's funny. Okay. So this is an interesting one here. Here is JD Vance showing that he knows how to have a good old time. He knows how to loosen up his tie and just be normal and not weird. Oh, isn't that great? Look, and I'm pointing at the Diet Mountain Dew. I'm so cool. And what is he reading here? He's reading the Wall Street Journal. And what does it say? It says inflation hits lowest level since 2021. That's interesting. It's very interesting, especially considering that the main thrust of the Republican attack on the Democratic Party and Bidenomics and the Biden Harris administration is that they don't know how to run an economy and running it into the ground. But actually, the United States economy is the envy of the world. Any economy in the world would happily trade places with America right now. We finally dipped under 3%. We're sitting at 2.9%, which is apparently like a sweet spot. I'm not going to pretend that I know about inflation rates or the economy and all that stuff. All I'm doing is parroting. I'm being honest. All I'll do is parroting what I've heard. But what I do know is that 2.9 is significant because now it's almost like giving the Fed the AOK sign to lower interest rates. And you have lower interest rates. It would have been great if we had that this month, but whatever. Next month, we'll have lower interest rates and possibly, after that. And the more the interest rates go down, the better, because then people can, afford to buy houses, And so anyway, that was JD Vance. Brilliant idea. Taking a picture showing a newspaper that is touting the accomplishments of your political rival. Well played. And JD Vance, meanwhile, is struggling to explain why sad, childless woman is always laughing. This guy is the gift that keeps on giving, because every day there's a new revelation, whether it's a picture or an audio recording from a podcast in which he was talking to the other day I saw this, a clip where he's talking to a dude with like a really long beard who is apparently has some white supremacist roots and a whole lot of misogyny and bad stuff. And yeah, of course, he was with that dude. But another reason Kamala Harris is always laughing is because Spanky McDumbass is flailing in desperation. It is truly, I was going to say it's sad. It's not sad. It is kind of funny. If I cared about him, it would be sad. I don't care about him, but he is flailing. He is coming apart at the seams every day. He cannot stand, excuse me, he cannot stand being sidelined. He cannot stand being overshadowed. And that is exactly what he is. Ever since Joe Biden stepped aside, passed the torch on to Kamala Harris and said, this is your show now. It's like a wave. It's been an entire wave of excitement following her. Every freaking day, every freaking week, the crowds are popping. The crowds are electric. The people are there, and you can feel the joy just coming through the screen at you from these crowds and these rallies. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's rallies, not so exciting. Yeah, kind of empty. Especially considering that, he did have another attendee at his most recent unhinged rally, which was supposed to be a press conference. The Fly, Mike Pence's Fly's brother or whatever. Anyway, his performance at this press conference is bizarre. It was supposed to be an intellectual economic press conference. It was anything but, though. Anything but. Here's what he said. He said, "This is talking. Follow me if you're able. I won't blame you if you can't understand the words. I'm reading his words verbatim. Excuse me. This is talking about a thing called the economy. I wanted to do a speech about the economy. A lot of people are very devastated by what's happened with inflation and all the other things. So we are doing this as an intellectual speech. Today we are doing it, and we are doing it right now. And it's very important. They say it's the most important subject." Sorry. I think crime is right there. I can't even finish with the voice. I think crime is right there. I think the border is right there personally. We have a lot of important subjects. They say it is the most important subject. I am not sure it is. Inflation is the most important, but that is part of the economy. What? What? How does anybody come away from watching this shit show? His brain is like 10 cats thrown into a small bag, fighting it out amongst each other. Here's another one. Here's another snapshot from yesterday's press conference. I have it. Look at this. Look at this. So these are Tic Tacs, right? He's holding up one thing of Tic Tacs. I don't know if I like the company. I have no idea. They are so lucky. This is the greatest commercial they ever had. No, it's not, because the last time this jackass mentioned Tic Tacs, he was talking about taking Tic Tacs before he forcibly kisses someone. Before he sexually assaults someone, he's taking a Tic Tac. So not a great commercial. But that's what happened. This is inflation. This is Tic Tac. And then in his other hand, he's holding up another one. This is Tic Tac. This is inflation. Somebody gave me this today. I said, I think we will put it up as an example of inflation. But you know what? Inflation is destroying our country. It's destroying our families. Is that it? Really? They used to say that he spoke simply, that he was simple, and he was talking down so that his audience could understand. But I don't think there's anybody in his audience that could understand that, who could make heads or tails out of that. I guess he was saying that the thing of Tic Tacs was bigger. Oh, no, that the smaller thing of Tic Tacs, if he had worded it correctly, he could have said that the same amount of money you pay for this is what you used to pay for this. You used to get this much Tic Tacs for money. Now you only get this much. But he couldn't even say that, and I'm right off the top of my head, not reading a script or anything, just extemporaneously coming up with that. Why can't this jackass, who supposedly, has the best words, who's great at business, why can't he explain that clearly? He can't. He's not capable. He's long past that time where where he can make sense of the things he's saying. His verbs are nouns. And here's a statement from the Harris-Walz campaign. At his country club, Donald Trump huffed and puffed his opposition to lowering food costs for middle and working class Americans and prescription drug costs for seniors before pivoting back to his usual lies and delusions. No surprise, Trump doesn't want to defend his agenda that would raise costs for families by $3,900 a year, cut Social Security, and eliminate the Affordable Care Act. Also, he can give his rich donors tax breaks. The American people cannot trust a word Donald Trump says, but they can trust Vice President Kamala Harris, who has spent her life taking on fraudsters, cheaters, and criminals like Donald Trump to make our country safer and lower costs for the middle class. Yeah. So disaster, absolute disaster. And speaking of absolute disaster, there was Donald Trump's so-called interview. It says no limits interview with Donald Trump. I swear, the only way no limits applies to this interview is that there were no limits to which Elon Musk would not kiss Donald Trump's ass. He would go to every length just to kiss that motherfucker's ass. That's what he did. And it was disgraceful. It was, first of all, it was boring as hell. They spent the first 30 minutes talking about the so-called assassination attempt. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, right? But they haven't shown me any medical report that explains how his ear, struck by an AR-15 bullet, healed magically in, 10 days? Come on, seriously. People are saying it should have taken the top of his ear off. At the very least, it should have, caused a scar that is still healing, that's scabbing up. Everybody's gotten a scratch or a scrape here in this audience. Everybody watching this show, listening, has gotten some kind of scratch or scrape, and it takes time. At the very least, you have a scab that's going to take some time for that shit to dry up and fall off, So it was pathetic. I think one of the worst things I saw, excuse me, in this interview was when Elon Musk and Donald Trump started talking about unions, and there was one part where Trump was praising Elon Musk for how he fired striking workers. And I'm going to show that to you right now because it was disgusting. I don't see how that's gaining him any votes. Could be wrong.
This cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But, if you look at Argent, this cutter.
Oh, you are the greatest. I love how you fire those poor striking workers who are just trying to make some extra money and improve their working conditions. Two billionaires stroking each other. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And how this event started off was pretty predictable, I guess, for someone like Elon Musk, who has already made Twitter, turned his $44 billion investment into a steaming pile of shit. Oh my goodness, Zelda. Thank you, my friend. Woo! Zelda, thank you so kindly for this very, very generous donation, my friend. Thank you for that. Appreciate your support of the show. Yeah. So this was, I tried to get into this thing. I didn't want to, but it's kind of like, it's like a newsworthy thing. So I have to. It's newsworthy. I have to cover it. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist or anything. I'm just like, I want to make sure my audiences get the info. But it took me, I couldn't get in there for an hour. It was supposed to start at 8. I don't think I got in there until 9 o'clock. But yeah, you didn't miss anything if you didn't see it. It was a half hour of Elon stroking Donald Trump over that so-called assassination attempt, and then stroking him about every other thing. And here's a picture of Donald Trump on the call. And if you can see, let's get a little closer there. He's got his phone in front of him and notes. This was supposed to be, they were calling this a conversation. But, what kind of conversation do you get into with your friends where you're referring to notes? That's no kind of conversation I've ever been a part of. During the interview, Donald Trump mentioned the fact that Kamala Harris was on the cover of Time magazine, and he started to get into his jealousy thing until he did a strange thing where he actually did compliment Kamala Harris, but coming from him, I don't take that as a compliment because he objectifies women. Not only that, but even creepier was that he said that Kamala in this illustration reminded him of his wife Melania. Yeah, so if I was Kamala, I definitely would not read any more into that disgustingness. It is a great picture. I do not think that she resembles Melania in the slightest. I think she's way better overall, way better than Melania. And just look at how Kamala Harris smiles. Man, when she smiles with her whole face, her whole soul. Like you want to be there, the way she expresses her joy. And that joy is just it's contagious. Anyway, let's continue. Meanwhile, Donald Trump at one point was attempting to reach out to the Black community. I guess we can put that to rest because the Trump War Room posted this the other day: import the third world, become the third world. So there's two pictures here. The picture on the left is a picture of an empty neighborhood that looks quiet and uneventful, with a well manicured lawn and just one single solitary American flag. And then on the right side, it looks like mayhem. It looks like 100 people in the frame, and it says "Your neighborhood under Kamala." And of course, every single person in this photograph is a person of color. So what are they saying? They're saying under Kamala, your white neighborhood is going to be overrun with Black people. Is that what it's saying? That's what it looks like it's saying. Don't play us, don't play us for fools. Don't piss on us and tell us that it's raining. We can see with our eyes, your audiences might be, that low hanging fruit, that those uneducated masses that Donald Trump says that he loves. But yeah, good Lord, indeed, Zelda is right. This is disgusting. This is absolutely, I couldn't even believe that somebody was allowed to post this. So he must be making an appeal to white supremacists. That can be the only explanation for that. Meanwhile, the map in front of you here is what I would call a deadbeat map. It's a map. It is a map showing all of the different cities where Donald Trump owes money that he has not paid from rallies he's been to. Looks like Washington, D.C. is the most, with he owes $9 million for his Washington, D.C. rallies. That's followed by El Paso, Texas, with $569,000. Minneapolis, $530,000. He's running up some serious tabs here all over the country. Can't even pay his damn bills. So as a result, the other day he had a rally in Asheville, North Carolina, in a venue that only holds 2,400 people, maximum capacity, 2,400 people. Right next door was another venue that wasn't being used at all that holds up to 7,000 people. But he couldn't use that one because he didn't pay them what he owes them. That's a damn shame. Why not? He's been making money hand over fist, hasn't he? He's been fundraising, selling sneakers and selling Bibles and every other nonsensical thing that he's sold, right? T-shirts with mugshot T-shirts. He sold those. You ain't got no money left over to pay these venues. That's some bullshit. That is some bullshit. And I'll tell you how little patience I have for Trumpers right about now. I only have 30 people watching this show right now. And I just booted a Trumper out of here because fuck you, dude. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, so he is real butthurt about Kamala's massive crowds. Her crowds are so big, it is making him have shrinkage. It's freaking out. He posted on True Social the other day. This was, I mean, again, if I cared about him, I would feel secondhand embarrassment from this post in particular. This is crazy. He said, "Has anyone noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport? There was nobody at the plane, and she AI'd it and showed a massive," in quotes, he puts, "crowd of so-called followers, but they didn't exist." Now, mind you, at this event, not only were there supporters, there were press covering it. There was live video of showing people there. And Bernadette, thank you for that reminder. Please don't forget to mash that like button. She was turned in by a maintenance worker at the airport when he noticed the fake crowd picture, but there was nobody there. He says, later confirmed by the reflection of the mirror-like finish on the vice presidential plane. So one of his, so the right wing is chock full of people with nothing better to do than to open up their Photoshop and try to falsify things just because they have crowd envy. So that's what they did. They took a picture of the plane and they, either they falsified it or whatever angle all those people were at just didn't register on the surface, the underside of the plane. But it's not like the people who were there did not exist. Same thing is happening with her fake crowds at her speeches. This is the way the Democrats win elections, by cheating. And they're even worse at the ballot box. She should be disqualified because the creation of a fake image is election interference. Anyone who does that will cheat at anything. You do realize that he is done told on himself again, because that's all he does is, create the fake AI pictures showing him with black people that don't exist, because they've got 6 fingers or 7 fingers and whatever. But yeah, that is exactly what he is doing. Meanwhile, the Harris Walls campaign doesn't need to resort to trickery and fakery. Their joy is so contagious. It's infectious. It's like you want to be a part of that crowd. Um, so much so that the polls have mostly all flipped. Here's a New York Times poll showing Kamala up 50% to Trump's 46% in Michigan. It's a key swing state. Here's another one. Pennsylvania. Again, Harris is at 50%. You haven't seen Trump at 50% in too many of these before this. Trump is again at 46%. And here's Wisconsin, again, 50 to 46. Pretty stunning turnaround, especially considering that just weeks ago, before President Biden stepped aside, he was losing to Trump. Yeah. So this is interesting. And I will say the reason, my guess, the main reason for this turnaround is that for the past year, maybe the past 2 years, the media has put so much energy, time and energy into telling the audience, us, the audience, the Democratic Party, telling us that Joe Biden is too old. And that despite the fact of all of his accomplishments, all of his legislative victories, people just think he's too old. They were not giving him credit for being better at the economy. This kind of actually ticks me off a bit, okay? They would not give Joe Biden credit for what he has done on the economy. They were giving Donald Trump the edge on the economy. But now, today, before her speech, before her economic speech, they were, people were being polled, oh yeah, we think Kamala's going to be better at the economy than Donald Trump. Why? Because Trump is the old guy now? Come on. That really irritates the hell. It really irritates the hell out of me because I actually knew all along. In fact, I showed you guys whenever I talked about this, I would put up that slide. Just stop being old, But it is what it is, and the campaign, pretty much right now, is so charged with electricity. It's because finally our candidate is not the oldest person there, and the coalescing of all of these different groups, whether it's black women for Harris, black men for Harris, white women for Harris, white dudes for Harris, cat lovers for Harris, shit, what was it? Oh, Republicans for Harris. And just the other day, I literally saw evangelicals for Harris, which I don't understand. I don't understand that one because I thought evangelicals were anti-abortion. I thought so. I don't know how the Harris campaign. That is one of Kamala Harris's main, things, her staples. One of the staples of her campaign is fighting for women's right to have an abortion. But yeah. Anyway, but it could all be boiled down to joy and pain, sunshine and rain. Sing it loud, got children. Joy, pump it up. Pain, here we go and keep it going. Sunshine and rain. I love those. Excuse me. Anyway, the other day, President Biden joined Kamala Harris to make a speech about the victory on prescription drugs. This is a significant one. So they got the 10 most expensive prescription drugs to drop their prices, or Medicare did. And this was a touching scene, because it actually was the first time audiences has seen Joe Biden and Kamala Harris together since the announcement, I think. Pretty sure. And here's Joe. This is vintage Joe right here.
And get this, you may have heard about the MAGA Republican Project 2025 plan. They want to repeal Medicare's power to negotiate drug prices. Let Big Pharma back to charge whatever they want. Let me tell you what our Project 2025 is. Beat the hell out of them. I mean it.
I love Fiery Joe, man. Fiery Joe is my jam. Beat the hell out of them. I'm waiting for him to drop an F-bomb on the stage. I wouldn't mind that at all. But now today, let's talk about today's speech, because this one actually, I was really impressed with Kamala Harris's speech today. So this was her much ballyhooed speech about the economy, specifically what things that she was going to do to improve Americans' lives, in the economy. And she spent some time talking about herself. Specifically, she was saying she can understand, she feels how people are concerned about the prices of groceries. And she said she looked back to the time when she worked at before this, when her mother, she said during most of her childhood they were renters. And I thought this was interesting, because my whole entire childhood we were renters. In fact, the notion of owning a home was so foreign to me. I never, it never even occurred to me that I should own a home, that I deserved to own a home. This is, subconsciously somewhere in my brain, I spent so many years, we were renting. So then as an adult, renting, we're basically just paying the landlord's mortgage. We're paying his mortgage. We're paying for his kids' tuition for college, his or her tuition. So yeah, I identified with that. And then she talked about how she used to work at McDonald's, for some cash. And suddenly I was like, wow, this is relatable shit that you could never picture Donald Trump saying. This is the guy who shits in gold toilets. He can't relate on that level. So I was very impressed with what she was saying. But even beyond that, I was impressed with her policies. And that's the important thing. Donald Trump was attempting to have an economic press conference, but he had lots of props there. He had some Folgers crystals behind him, and some cereal and some goods, and he had all these props there, but he didn't bother to really talk about that shit. He just let his thing devolve into personal attacks against Kamala. That's what he spent his time doing. But Kamala, she spent her time being an explainer in chief. And then I was like, well, goddamn, where was this the past 3 years? Seriously, like, there was a whole lot of explaining that needed to come out of the Biden-Harris administration prior to this that just wasn't articulated as well as Kamala Harris did today. And this is the ball game. This is everything, I think. Here. Brilliant.
We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed. But our supply chains have now improved, and prices are still too high. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%. Many of the big food companies are seeing their highest profits in 2 decades. And while many grocery chains pass along these savings, others still aren't. Look, I know most businesses are creating jobs, contributing to our economy, and playing by the rules. But some are not. And that's just not right. And we need to take action when that is the case. As Attorney General in California, I went after companies that illegally increased prices, including wholesalers that inflated the price of prescription medication, and companies that conspired with competitors to keep prices of electronics high. I won more than $1 billion for consumers. So believe me, as president, I will go after the bad actors. And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food. My plan will include new penalties for opportunistic companies that exploit crises and break the rules, and we will support smaller food businesses that are trying to play by the rules and get ahead.
Excellent speech. I mean, so we've been talking about price gouging and stopping these companies from price gouging this whole time, whole past 3.5 years. We've been saying, stop the price gouging. We knew it was going on. So finally, and Republicans actually voted against a bill to stop price gouging. I think at the gas pump. That was stop oil companies from price gouging. This is a food one, very important. Good. So yeah, so I think I had one more clip to show you, but basically, wait, hang on a second. Yeah, basically that other clip was Kamala Harris talking about the other things that she wanted to do primarily, and this is kind of exciting. She wanted to give first-time homeowners a $25,000 assistance for the down payment. That's huge. That's huge. Some of the other things. Oh, it's not that. It's this one here. There's a $25,000 down payment support for first-time home buyers. Cut taxes for middle-class families with kids. Listen to this one. A new $6,000 child tax credit for families with children in the first year of life. So clearly, I don't qualify for that, but I'm excited for the people who are going to be able to get that. Cut taxes for frontline workers, and cut taxes to help Americans afford health insurance on the Affordable Care Act marketplace. All in, I think they were talking about cutting taxes for 100 million Americans. Let's see, where do I have this here? Something else here. 100 million. I don't have it. But yeah, it's all in. It's a fantastic economic plan, and she was able to articulate it very well, like way better than Donald Trump ever could. And I think we have something here. I'm very excited about it. And something else I'm excited about is that I have progress news for you on the sequel to The Liddle'est President. So now, as I stated at the beginning of the show, The Liddle'est President is a book that I published back in 2020. March 21st, 2020 was when this became available. And it was the same day that I lost my job. I lost the job that I had for 14 years as the art director for a graphic design and printing company in Manhattan. And my boss was a Trump supporter. Not only was he a Trump supporter, little did I know that he had been monitoring me for like over a year. He was watching me. He was like stalking my Twitter account. This was peculiar to me because at the time I think I only had about 300,000 only had 300,000 followers. But why wouldn't you tap my Twitter expertise, try to parlay that for your business? You know, I could have easily brought in a ton of business, a ton. But he was concernicus that I was saying mean things about Donald Trump. Anyway, long story short, he I think it was January of that year. This is just before COVID started to set in. He called me into his office and he said that I was not permitted to tweet between the hours of 12 midnight. Mind you, I'm at home at 12 midnight, right? From 12 midnight until 7 p.m. 12 midnight to 7 p.m. So basically, I'm only allowed to tweet from 7 p.m. to midnight, 5 hours per day. That was it. How could he possibly get away with that, you're wondering? It's because New York is a right to work state. So he could have fired me for any reason, and I could not afford to be fired. Could not, you know. Got a wife and kids to support, you know. So anyway, that was the day that I actually did my very first Storytime with BDD. And many of you were there with me on that day when I started reading this book to you guys. And so, excuse me, that was a lot of fun. And I'd gotten some things right in that. Obviously, this was done before Joe Biden was selected as our party's nominee. So I had a question mark. The question mark was our candidate. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. It was candidate somebody blue. Democrats were so angry at the fake trial, they quickly fell in line behind one presidential contender, candidate somebody blue. This candidate wasn't everyone's first choice. Many people wanted somebody else. Some people wanted to vote for anyone else, but they knew that if Spanky won, he'd just keep on breaking the law and not being held accountable for it. So the only thing folks could agree upon was that somebody blue was the only person who could defeat Spanky. Even Republicans and independents agreed on this. And folks, that's kind of where we are right now. So prior to now, I had been kind of stagnated in getting this together, for whatever reason. Like, I was originally planning on having the book done and ready to publish in June. June was my original date, but I couldn't something was not sitting right with me about the whole scenario. And excuse me, thank you. Thank goodness I didn't publish it, because I would have been way off. I would have had Joe Biden running against Spanky McDumbass, or Mo Biden, excuse me, in the general election. Thankfully, I dragged my heels on it, and lo and behold, in the middle of July, we had what we had happen. So, where am I now with this? Here is my very first sketch for what I wanted on the cover, right? And from left to right, we have Harry Dunn, Stormy Daniels, and this is a rough sketch. We have Jack Smith popping his head out of one of the boxes. So this sketch right here is the bathroom where all of Spanky's classified files were being kept. And next to Jack Smith is Joe Biden, and then Kamala Harris, and then Tim Walz, and then Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Next to them is Rudy Giuliani, and then Melania. And originally, I wanted Clarence Thomas in there, but then I was like, you know what? That's not fitting. And then I decided to put the QAnon shaman in there, the guy with the horns, and then Spanky is down center, on the floor having a tantrum. And so after that, we had my dude John Kelly, the illustrious John Kelly, did his very first sketch. And as you can see, he's fleshed out the characters here. He's got the line art drawings there. Very, very talented. And that led to this here. So now he's got this is the color blocking. Oh, and there's Melania up there too. And this is the final finished product. And I am, frankly, I'm blown away. If you were to look at a picture of that bathroom, you would see how really close this is, with the pink, the pink marble sink and the toilet. And let's look here. Oh, and on the floor you can see Spanky with the some bottles of ketchup there. Yes, I did the original sketches myself. So in this picture, I'm just zooming in a little bit here. If you look on the far left of the screen, that's the mirror. And on the mirror, you can actually see the reflection of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. There, that's pretty cool. If you look close, we can't get that close here, but Harry Dunn, you can even see on his badge, you can see the name Dunn. Stormy Daniels. Here's a fun fact. Stormy Daniels, I was talking to someone today, and they had never heard of Stormy Daniels. Just freaking blew my mind. Jack Smith is there, very recognizable in that purple outfit. If you look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, you can see she's in a she's like in a cave woman dress. Rudy Giuliani's got the stain dripping from his cheek there. Lauren Boebert is pointing a gun at the ceiling, and the QAnon shaman is in that famous pose he was in. Scott, the person who didn't know Stormy was actually 31 years old. Like not super young, but not super old either. And yeah, on the even the sheets of paper on the floor, they say secret/SCI. I mean, the level of detail in this is what I love for and look at her feet. I should have given her 3 toes, but 5 toes is plenty. And then you guys remember this. This was some of you this was some of your favorite pages. This is Spanky McDumbass. Spanky McDumbass is sad. He used to be rich. He used to be a businessman. He used to be a TV star. He used to be the littlest president. Now Spanky McDumbass is in jail. How did he get here? Let's go back. And you see there's a poster there with his face on Time magazine, and that face is the same expression he's making, wailing while he's holding on the prison bars. The other poster is a picture of his daughter, Stanky. And then let's see. So here is a draft right now, excuse me, of the new interior page, interior spread. So on the far left there, you can see that blue splotch. That's yet another ketchup stain on the wall. There's his mugshot. And the text on the walls there is going to say, "My crowds were bigger." And then in the back, it says Sleepy Mo, but Sleepy Mo is crossed out. And Kamala Harris's name is in there. What kills me with this one, which John Kelly put in, and like I didn't know he was putting it in, but you see where the fumes are coming out of his sagging diaper. I don't know if you guys can see the sagging diaper. He's wearing a diaper. The diaper is so full of poop, right? And there's the fumes. And I asked him to have fumes and flies come out, but he's got actual like skeletons, skeleton heads coming out of there. And that killed me. That floored me. Oh, here we go. Closer. And look at his face, and he's carrying a bottle of another bottle of ketchup there. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. And so we are making progress, and I'm happy to bring that progress to you. And I will, I'll try to keep you posted as we move forward. The intended publishing date right now is October 15th. That's what I'm shooting for. Definitely will not be done before then, but I will do what I can to stay on schedule with that. I finally have gotten the writer's block off of me, and now it's all about just sketching this thing out and getting it colored and getting it produced. So very excited about this. So guys, thank you for being patient with me and for hanging in there. I really am looking forward to doing a proper reading. The Bigliest Loser. It's quite a story. And similar to the Liddle'est President, it's all true. It's all true. Very interesting. The only thing that might be embellishment or some of the artistic liberties that I'm taking with some of the sketches and illustrations you guys will see in the book there. So I'm very excited. I can't wait for you guys to see this finished book. And folks, that is it. That is all the time I have for today. So thank you for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Next week is going to be a little is going to be a little hectic. You know, there's the DNC is going on, so it's almost like every night is going to be something special. You guys will most likely see me posting things throughout the day having to do with the DNC. I'm not sure. I'm going to probably be so busy. I'm not sure if I'm doing an episode of Storytime next week, but rest assured, I will keep you guys posted and apprised of stuff, of things. And yes, Scott, I will enjoy pizza and movie with wifey tonight. Thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing you guys here next time we do this show. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.